You know what I mean? There you go. No, I'm saying boom. So then when you extend it, boom, this is protecting you. This is right here. You know what I mean? Cause look, if I throw a hook, no, I'm saying, if I'm here, boom, and you throw a hook, I'm just gonna turn. I'm just gonna turn on my shoulder. Waiting too much.
I feel I got the speed over Canelo. I got the reach over him. He might got the size, the power. I got the better skills, boxing skills.
Would it be more of a cat and mouse?
Terence Crawford recently did a lot of study on Canelo Alvarez's fighting style and told everyone exactly how he plans to beat him on September 13th. On the other hand, Caleb Plant said that he thought the fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford would be interesting and full of action. He thinks Canelo will throw a lot more punches than in his last fight with John Ryder, which he thought was slow and predictable. Plant said that Ryder's defensive stance and low volume made the fight careful, which didn't surprise him. He pointed out that Canelo had said before that he doesn't like fighting opponents who don't fight back. On the other hand, Plant said that the fight with Crawford will be completely different because of the way they work. Plant thinks that the fight will be more fun because Crawford is known for being fast and throwing punches quickly.
It'll be a good fight. Yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting fight. I think there's going to definitely be some back and forth and a lot more punches thrown than the Skull fight. I kind of honestly was expecting that with the Skull fight. I heard Canelo say in an interview before he don't like to fight certain fighters because you heard him say that.
Yeah, he doesn't like fighting fighters like Skull because they don't throw punches. That's all they do, yeah.
And knowing how Skull fights and him being a Cuban, and I felt like I had seen that coming from a mile away. I didn't really expect it to be I thought he was either going to wind up catching him and stopping him, or it's going to wind up being a hollow win. So, but that's a stylistic matchup, you know, and it's going to be a completely different stylistic matchup between him and Bud. And I think it's going to make for an exciting fight, a good fight.
When asked if Canelo should be the favorite, Plant said it made sense for most people to pick him since he is bigger and Crawford is trying to lose weight. Still, he pointed out that people place too much stress on size, and betting lines aren't necessarily an accurate indication of who will win. He told his fans that he was once seen as an underdog, but he went on to win a world title. While he did not pick a winner, Plant stated that he is thrilled to see the bout as a fan and expects a high-level encounter that might be memorable.
Regardless of however the fight itself plays out, I feel like the betting, the betting people will probably have Canelo as a favorite simply because, Terence is moving up a couple weight classes, and people will say, oh, there's weight classes for a reason, and this and that. So it doesn't matter what the betting odds say, though. You know what I'm saying? I've been the underdog a couple times. Jose Uzcategui, I was the underdog. That's how I became world champion. So odds only mean so much. Once the bell rings, the fighters get to figure it out.
Do you think Canelo wins? Or do you think Terence wins? This is my last one.
Can't say. Can't say, don't know. I'm just, as a fan, excited to see the fight. And from the boxing knowledge that I have, which I feel like is decent, I think it's going to be a real good fight. I'm excited for it.
Furthermore, interestingly, the adult stated that Terence Crawford has developed a tendency of talking opponents down and depending on his physical abilities since he has frequently been too athletic or dominant for his competition. He said it was like what he calls the Paul Williams or Mark Breland syndrome, which happens when great skill leads to bad habits. Crawford likes to use a high guard, parrying and countering while receiving punches to his arms and shoulders. Showbiz cautioned that this strategy could be dangerous against a genuine 168-pounder like Canelo Alvarez, whose blows will feel different, and that Crawford has rarely displayed the ability to fight off the back foe and win without being touched.
Terence Crawford has been getting hit flush repeatedly forever. But he has what I like to call the Paul Williams disease or the Mark Breland disease, where you've been too athletically gifted or too big for your eye. So you have built this bad habit of saying, now I'm gonna walk you down and whip your ass. Nobody has really been able to hurt Crawford. What Crawford does to walk you down and whip your ass is putting his guard up, very similar to Canelo, or he'll do this. And he would block with that hand, he'll parry, and he'll hit. because he's just too physical. He will end up being like, bam, bam, catching your punches to throw his, and he'll walk you down. And my problem with that is you're dealing with a 168-pound Canelo who's going to hit your arms, hit your shoulders. It's going to feel different. I've never known Crawford to box off his back foot, swim without getting wet, and just outpoint you. That's not him.
Shakur Stevenson also shared his opinion, predicting that Terence Bud Crawford will defeat Canelo Alvarez. He praised Canelo's abilities and legacy, but thinks Crawford has the tools and versatility to win. When the topic of weight came up, Shakur downplayed its importance, saying that it is sometimes exaggerated out of proportion. He noted that, unlike naturally large boxers such as David Benavidez, Canelo does not have a major size advantage over Crawford. Shakur also revealed a conversation with Bozienis, in which they both agreed that if Canelo loses focus or underestimates Crawford, Crawford has a good chance of getting a stoppage.
Bud gonna cook Canelo. I think he's gonna cook him. I think, Canelo a hell of a fighter, but I think Bud just got all the tools to beat him.
You don't think the weight difference is gonna be too big of an advantage?
I think y'all make that something, in certain fights,
Boxing makes it something, not us.
like if this was like a Benavidez, he's actually a lot bigger than Bud, so that would like apply. But I feel like with Canelo, he's like physically kind of big, but like height wise, he's kind of small. So I don't think so. No.
Corey, how you got a decision to stoppage? Because Bradman and Boozy think that Bud actually might stop him.
Me and Boozy talked about that. That's crazy. Me and him got on the phone, talked about it, but I think that's possible. Like, I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but I think it's a possibility if Canelo gets to acting out of line and not understanding that Bud can crack too. So.
Terence Crawford, on the other hand, thinks Canelo Alvarez would approach their battle with a combination of boxing ability and pressure, attempting to wear him out with his stature. While Crawford admitted that Canelo is the naturally larger fighter, he highlighted that he is fully prepared for whatever approach Canelo brings to the ring and is ready for any scenario.
I'm expecting Canelo to beat Canelo. He's the bigger man. I expect him to, box a little bit, but I also expect him, to try to walk me down and be the bigger man. So, we expect everything in there. No, definitely it don't matter. The odds can't fight for him. So, it is what it is.
Crawford also encouraged fans not to miss the action on September 13th, calling it as a clash between two of the sport's best. He called it a high-stakes war, with one fighter aiming to maintain his supremacy and the other looking to steal that position. Crawford believes the bout will be absolutely spectacular.
Because it's going to be a spectacular fight. You got two great fighters, going head-to-head, and trying to dethrone. You got one fighter trying to dethrone the other one, and you got the other one trying to, stay at the top. So, it's going to be a great fight. Both of us got a lot to lose, but a lot to gain. So, I think that's why everybody should tune in, because it's going to be a hell of a fight.
Furthermore, Romero stated that he truly hopes Terence Crawford delivers a one-sided beating to Canelo Alvarez. He repeated this remark several times, clearly expressing strong feelings behind it. When pressed to explain his position, Romero cited something Canelo did in a recent fight that he deemed a major insult to the sport. While Rolly acknowledged the difficulties that come with weight discrepancies, he stated that his support for Crawford draws from both personal feelings and disappointment with Canelo's behavior, which he described as a major affront to boxing.
Canelo. I hope Crawford beats the shit out of him.
Really? Yeah?
Now, I'll tell you like this, the weight division things, but I hope Crawford beats the shit out of him.
Why do you want to see Crawford beat the ish out of Canelo?
I just hope Crawford beats the shit out of him.
Why? Like, Canelo, is it because of the last fight? Like you haven't been a fan of Canelo, or like why? Like, you like Crawford that much? Took your cup.
What Canelo did on that day was disrespectful to boxing. It was just simply disrespectful to boxing in every way.
In a separate conversation, Romero mentioned that he does not see Canelo versus Crawford as a true headline bout. Though he acknowledged Canelo's abilities and accomplishments, he thought that a fight with David Benavidez would be more significant. He criticized the idea that simply pitting a much smaller boxer like Crawford against a larger opponent made the bout noteworthy. According to Rolly, a truly major bout is one that pits top fighters from the same class against one another or brings together two big-name stars who can provide viewers with an engaging show.
I don't think Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia 2 is a big fight.
I was going to ask you about that. I was going to ask you.
I don't think that's a big fight. I don't think Canelo Crawford's a big fight.
No?
I think Canelo's I think Canelo Benavidez is a big fight.
I think that's huge.
I don't think a dude moving up 3 weight divisions to go fight a dude that's twice his size, I know he looked bigger than him the other day, but I mean, obviously, regardless, I don't think that's that's not making a big fight.
Well, what is making a big fight? Like, how do you make a big fight?
You take the best person in one weight division, you put another person in the weight division, make a big fight, or you get 2 stars that are entertaining as hell and you make a big fight like that.
Still, Romero believes that if Crawford and Canelo battle, size would finally determine the outcome. He was blunt in his views, labeling anyone who thinks Crawford can win a complete moron. Rolly stressed that weight divisions exist for a reason, and that while Canelo is the bigger man, he is also technically proficient. Romero thinks that this is an issue of physicality more than skill or experience. As a result, he does not see Crawford as having a serious chance of winning.
We got Canelo, we got Terrence Crawford. That's going to happen in the fall. It's going to happen here in Sin City, your hometown. How do you feel about that matchup?
Anyone that thinks Crawford has a chance is a complete idiot. They have weight classes for a reason.
Too big? Too skilled?
Way too big, way too skilled. And this isn't a skill matchup. It has nothing to do with skill. It has to do with...
Joel Diaz made it obvious that he does not think Terrence Crawford has a genuine chance of defeating Canelo. Despite dubbing Crawford his favorite fighter and the best pound-for-pound boxer in the sport, he emphasized that the shift from 147 to 168 pounds is a major step up, and while Crawford may perform well in the early rounds, the size and power disparity would finally become too great. Diaz noticed that Canelo has easily absorbed clean punches from heavyweights such as Gennady Golovkin, and if he lands cleanly on Crawford, the effects might be huge.
There's no way that Terrence Crawford, being to me my favorite fighter, I mean the best fighter pound for pound, can beat Canelo. I mean, a 147 pounder moving up to 68, I mean, he can only maybe go 2-3 rounds, good 2-3 rounds, and then Canelo hits him and he hurts him. Canelo's being hit by Triple G, the hardest hitter in the division, and never hurt him. But Canelo will hit Crawford and
Diaz compared the bout to Demetrius Andrade's fight with David Benavidez, in which Andrade looked bright at first but faded rapidly as the physical imbalance became apparent. He feels Crawford will suffer a similar conclusion regardless of his skill level. According to Diaz, the bout sounds more like a business decision than a truly competitive clash, with Crawford chasing a big payoff rather than enjoying a fight on equal terms.
For the fight Benavidez and Demetrius Andrade, yes. Demetrius Andrade was a great fighter. Nobody wanted to fight him at 54. He moved to 60. Fight 1 or 2. Nobody wanted to fight him at 60. So what did he do? He moved up to 68 because there was nothing for him to fight Benavidez, a big fighter like that. I mean, look what he did in the first early round. Demetrius Andrade was in control, he was doing great, but once that weight starts kicking in, it takes over. There is no way that Crawford can beat Canelo. I mean, Turkey on the cheek, it's a big fan of Terrence Crawford. He wants to give him a good payday, and simple as that, that's all it is, man.
Teddy Atlas had great regard for Terrence Crawford, praising him as absolutely extraordinary. Although he admires Canelo Alvarez as a tremendous boxer, he thinks Crawford has a unique gift that sets him apart from others. Atlas emphasized Crawford's innate qualities, namely his timing, instincts, fierce attention, and ability to stay calm under pressure. He explained that Crawford's tranquility goes beyond just being comfortable. It is about seeing and responding to things that others cannot.
I just think Crawford's real special. I think Canelo's really good,
but I think Crawford is special. I know he hasn't fought the resume everyone wants, but you have that or you don't have that ingredient. I think he has it. I see it. The timing, the instinct, the eyes, the ability to be chilly cold, not just cold and calm, but chilly cold, where you can see things other people don't see and react to it.
Teddy also discussed Crawford's move up to 150 for pounds, saying that while his performance was not perfect, he fought a skilled opponent with a hard approach. He saw that Crawford was adjusting to a new division, which increased the difficulty of the fight. Teddy emphasized that boxing fans sometimes expect athletes to constantly give flawless performances, but certain circumstances necessitate patience. Despite these challenges, Crawford did what was necessary to achieve victory. Teddy feels Crawford's success comes from his philosophy, drive, and personal history.
He didn't have a great performance when he moved up to 154, but he was fighting a good fighter. He was fighting a guy that fought a very difficult style at that moment, and he was fighting at a weight class that was foreign to him, and we had to give him a minute. Nobody wants to give anyone a minute in this business. You're supposed to be great, you got to be great every minute. But I gave him a minute to kind of get his feet settled at a new weight class, and he still did what he had to do to win. But I still see the greatness. The greatness is within Crawford. It's in his desire, it's in his mind, it's in his makeup, it's in his background, where he came.
Greg Hackett stated that, while he cannot clearly say what Terence but Crawford is incapable of, he does not believe Crawford will be able to defeat Canelo Alvarez. He stated that if Crawford thinks he can, it is up to him. Hackett gave Canelo minor advantage in the matchup, saying that going up to 168 pounds would cause Crawford to fight more cautiously. He suggested that, despite Crawford's quickness and power, Canelo's strength at that weight might make Crawford more reluctant and cautious with his punches. Lonnie B. voiced out that the Canelo-Crawford fight will take place, meaning that it could be a tool to gauge public interest. Nonetheless, he admitted that if the battle takes place, it will definitely get a lot of attention and be quite famous. While praising Crawford's impressive ability, Lonnie B. emphasized the necessity of size in boxing. He contended that a great big man will usually defeat a great little man. However, a great smaller man can beat a decent bigger man. In his opinion, Canelo is a great large man. Kermel Moten hailed the impending September fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford as a huge event, pointing out that Crawford is stepping up to weight classes to challenge for the undisputed super middleweight title. He acknowledged that smaller boxers frequently struggle when moving up in weight, but he thinks Crawford has a legitimate shot. Moten noted the difficulty of the jump but saw the bout as evenly balanced, describing it as a 50-50th split. He said that he is unsure who would win and feels will be determined by who acts better on fight night. Finally, he stated that the real winners in this clash will be the fans. Lamont Roach hailed Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, calling them superb athletes. When asked to choose a winner, he struggled because he admired both fighters. However, he says that Canelo's punching strength concerns him. Roach mentioned that Canelo hits really hard, and that level of strength makes him concerned about how the fight would play out.
Canelo versus Bud Crawford. I'm kind of have to put you on the spot. Who do you like? Who you going with?
I like both. I'm a fan of Canelo. I'm a fan of Terence Crawford. They're both amazing fighters. Canelo's just a huge puncher, bro. It scares me a little.
Abel Sanchez praised Crawford and Canelo as knowledgeable and skilled fighters, but gave Canelo the advantage due to his size and defensive qualities. He noted that Canelo has taken big strikes from powerful opponents like his Gennady Golovkin, Dmitry Bivol, and Sergey Kovalev without exhibiting any indications of weakness, demonstrating his capacity to absorb power. Sanchez pointed out that Crawford is hit more frequently, even at 150 for pounds, and noted that no matter how well Crawford performs or how much weight he gains, facing someone of Canelo's strength and girth is an entirely other problem.
Well, Terence Crawford is a great fighter, but so is Canelo. I think that, in my opinion, their IQ is similar, except Canelo doesn't get hit like Crawford gets hit. In my opinion, Canelo's a bigger man. Not that he started out as a bigger man, but he's now a bigger man. He has been hit by not only Gennady, who's one of the biggest punchers that I've ever coached and I've ever seen, but he's also been hit by Bivol, by Kovalev, who's a big puncher. You know, he's been hit by big guys. Crawford had a hard time with a 154-pounder who hit him often. So I think that no matter how much weight he puts on, no matter how smart he thinks he is or how big he thinks he is, he's going to be getting hit by a truck.
Sanchez also said that Crawford may succeed in the early rounds by using his pace and timing to win some games. However, as the bout progresses, he thinks Canelo's strength and experience will prevail. Around round 6 or 7, Sanchez feels Canelo will rediscover his rhythm, land clean blows, and seize control of the fight. Sanchez praised Canelo's upper body movement, head control, defensive awareness, and strong punching despite his lack of footwork. He anticipated that Canelo would either finish Crawford late in the fight or win convincingly on the scorecards, and told Crawford's corner to be ready to intervene if the fight became to one-sided.com. And
used to that, and I think that at the beginning, just like it was with Kell Brook and Gennady, at the beginning the speed and the talent will show in the fight. I think Canelo will lose 3 or 4 rounds at the beginning, but then once he starts pounding on him, as it's been for the last 6-7 fights of Canelo, after the 6th or 7th round, it's a sparring session for him. You know, he just throwing bombs away and not caring about what they do to him. But he's got excellent defense. Unfortunately, his feet don't move as well as I would like for him to move them, but his upper body is just unbelievable. He slips punches very well. He's got great hands. He parries very well, and he lands big shots. He may not land as many, but he lands big shots that hurt. So I think Canelo stops him, or wide decision at the end, and corner must think about Crawford's safety and health.
That's all for today's show. So, what are your thoughts about this? Share your ideas in the comments box, and if you like the video, please subscribe and like it.